more to BSG Online 2022. Oh, not online, annual actually. Jeez, I'm falling into my old habits there. Either way, we got Dyanketo playing Cyber Shadow, so everybody get ready to jam out to these lovely tunes in this game. Take it away, guys.
Well, I am Dyanketo. I kind of speedrun this game.
Kinda is a word.
Yeah, I kind of is a word, yeah. And I have a co-commentator, Ishma. You guys probably have already seen him a couple of times.
Exactly. Hello, everyone. I actually was a runner of this game at one point as well. Kind of retired at the moment because.
Oh, don't worry, I'm gonna get him back.
It is really hard. So before this run, because I know the game and I know the speedrun, I asked Diane, so did anything change in the time that I was absent from actually running it? And just to make sure, he wrote a freaking essay to me with notes on what changed here. I have absolutely no idea if I can fit everything that he wrote to me into my commentary, because not only is this game very hard, it also goes by very fast. So by the time I'm basically talking about chapter 1, he's probably in chapter 3 or something. So we will see how this goes, I suppose.
Well, you're not wrong. No, it is actually very fast-paced. We have no time to slot in all the information we want to slot in, but we'll do the best we can to give you a proper overview. And yeah, I'm ready when everybody else is. Just need a countdown, and I'm good to go.
All right, let's do this.
3, 1. Oh, I'm sorry, I should have been ready. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So yeah, this is Cyber Shadow. We are playing as Shadow. Haha, who would have guessed? We are a cyber ninja. We actually died at the beginning of the game in the cutscene that you skipped. There is a lot of lore going on here. We'll probably skip over most of it, because if you want to get into it, you have to read all these monitors scattered around here, getting a little bits of lore here and there. For the speedrun, it's obviously mostly inconsequential, so we're just gonna get into the bread and butter here. Obviously, it's the start of the game. It's kind of like Ninja Gaiden, if you know that game from the NES era. So you have your walking, you have your jumping, you have your slashing. Pretty basic stuff at the beginning. It will evolve over the course of the game. But for now, we enter the first chapter, the geothermal towers, and watch or wait out for the music to kick in here, because it's a banger.
Okay, what you saw me doing right there is actually... Oh yeah, I'll just let the music play for a bit.
All right, that sets the mood, I suppose.
Yeah. So what you see me doing right here is before the elevator starts, there's a small visual cue that you can use to get out of the elevator. And what you see, try me, what you actually are... Oh.
Yeah, so this game is basically very cycle-based, as you can see. Dine is trying to basically go through each screen without a fall, just so you can hit every cycle. Because they are consistent if you can do that. And obviously, all the faster strategies are dependent on doing exactly that. So every time he just makes a very slight mistake, the cycles might be off already, so he has to go for a little bit of backup strategies, which will cost him time. And the longer the screen goes on, the more time this can potentially cost, because, you know, all the cycles start being off. Which makes this a very hard speedrun to do and to optimize. Especially with these birds that are introduced in the very first chapter of the game. I don't know why. And
birds are jerks.
Yes, they absolutely are. Once again, if you know Ninja Gaiden or any like these 2D platformers, you probably know what's going to happen. They basically slingshot around you, so it's very hard to avoid them in the first couple of screens, especially once you get to the moving platform sections.
Yeah, and about the movement, we can actually speed it up just a little bit. As soon as I hit a ledge, I try to leave it as late as possible to get a 4-frame boost. And you can see it by the white dust leaving the heels of Shadow's feet. It's very small, but it's an optimization I will try to do as much as I can.
And we're already into the very first boss fight, the Smasher. It's a pretty easy boss fight in the beginning, because, you know, we are just starting out here. You just have to wait for him to smash down, jump over the flames, and then hit this eye thing in the middle of it. Dodge the cannon shots going from the left and right, and that is done. And our reward for this boss fight is our first health upgrade, because as you can see in the upper left corner of the screen, you have HP and our SP. Obviously, HP is our health. Once it reaches 0, we die, and we have to restart from a checkpoint. SP are basically our magic points, so to speak, that we use for our special abilities, which we acquire a little bit later into the run. So at the moment, we have 0 out of 5, so we just have to go ahead and wait for that to happen. Another country you can see in the top left corner is our essence. This is basically the currency that you can build up over the course of the run. It's these yellow, orange-ish capsules that we're going to pick up. And this is very precisely routed throughout the whole game, because currency, having that at specific points in the run is like absolutely important. If you don't have that and you can't buy the upgrades that you need at certain points, well, you might just be, well, not exactly screwed, I don't want to say, but it can just snowball out of control, and you might even have to spend a little bit of time farming that because you need those upgrades. Now this is starting to be the end of Chapter 1. We have this vertical climb up these moving platforms, which is very precise. We have all these birds trying to, well, absolutely murder us by choking us backwards into the pits here. Because obviously, this being a retro-inspired game, every time you get hit, you actually do get a little bit of knockback, which can send you flying into the pits.
Yeah, it's actually really useful as a damage boost in certain situations. I've tried a couple just earlier. But yeah, those are very finicky. You have a very small window to actually turn around properly.
Yeah.
And just get the damage boost going. So I almost fell into a pit because of it.
Okay, this is the first, or the second boss of the game, the end boss of Chapter 1, the Apparitor. You will see him a little bit more during the course of the run here. He's once again cycle-based. Let's see if you get the choke clip here by standing very close to him once he dashes against the wall. If we stand precisely there, we can just barely hit his toe while he is in the air, getting a little bit more damage and actually killing him faster than having to wait for him to fall down again. It's a very precise trick to do. You just got it barely in there, and yeah, we actually finished Chapter 1, basically. And we get our very first ability, which is going to be the Shuriken.
Yep.
Now, the way our abilities work is, obviously, we need our SP in the top left corner, the blue bar. Every time we use an ability, we spend 1 SP to use it. However, we can still use them even if we are out of SP, but then the properties of that ability change just a little bit. In the case of the Shuriken, if you have SP, as you just saw Dyan do that there, you basically throw a Shuriken across the whole of the screen. If you didn't have any SP, not only would it deal less damage, the travel distance would also be vastly reduced. So obviously we're trying to maintain our SP, or rather the SP routing also comes into play now. We pick up 1 SP upgrade here, so instead of 5 SP, we now have 6, which makes the whole run just a little bit more safely, because, well, you do have that 1 extra SP to work with. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to actually go ahead and grab that. I think you're one of the last persons to actually still do that, which has a very good time on the leaderboards. But yeah, if you're going to be a top world record holder of this game, you're probably not going to get that little bit of safety anymore. So this room is one that most people absolutely hate, because every time you hit this nest, more of these rust moths start spawning out of it. And once again, you know, they are basically jerk birds, so we do not like that. Having killed that, though, this laser activates now, which allows us to progress through the rest of the stage. Now, this was a very precise jump here, just being able to make that cycle, because this laser blast is an instant kill. If he gets hit by that, he immediately dies and gets sent back to the last checkpoint. So obviously, we don't want to do that. But again, we also want to go fast, so, you know, pick your poison at this point. If you have iframes, because you just hit just a little bit before, you can survive the laser blast, but the iframes are very few, so you absolutely have to time your movement there. Now, at this point, we get the blade extension for just a little bit, because we're coming up on a boss fight, which is going to be Laser Brain. Laser Brain is very interesting in the way that you have this eye in the middle of the brain, and if you actually manage to hit that, it counts as a critical. Very beautiful boss fight there. And you actually deal double damage. And what the Blade Extend does, it allows you to just have that little bit more range to actually hit that weak point like twice in one jump and deal massive amounts of damage, which makes this fight absolutely fast and beautiful. All right. Going further on through the waste disposal facility here, it's basically platforming, once again, being aware of all the cycles that Dyan has to hit. And we are coming up on the trash elevator, which is going to be a 2-minute auto-scroller, 1.5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So something around that.
Yeah, I usually, at this point, I introduce Fred. Fred is a very specific bug in the run. I have a tendency to name my enemies. So coming up right here in the upper right corner, that's Fred. Fred likes to play with us, so I'm giving him the first few seat to this event. And unfortunately, his ticket got cancelled, so yeah, it's... Poor Fred.
F's in chat for Fred. So yeah, how these flying enemies work is... once they are still flying, if you hit them once, they basically lose their wings and fall to the ground, and then you have to hit them again to actually be able to kill them. So even if you would deal more damage, you would still have to hit them twice to be able to actually kill them. But yeah, not a lot going on here, so let's hear if you have anything to plug. This might be your moment.
Well, of course. At the end of the interview earlier, you heard, of course, the plushies be mentioned. Now, the plushies are made by somebody called Renabo, and we would like to thank her for sponsoring the prizes to BSG. Renabo is a plush maker and a game developer who is currently working on Floating Wonderland, a retro-style 2D puzzle platform that uses gravity to solve puzzles. As you progress through several different stages, follow @FloatingWonder on Twitter for updates.
So this is another room that is very heavily cycle-based. You can see all these laser blasts and poison gas going up all around the place. It's all cycle-based as soon as you enter the room, so once you get hit even once, you're basically off-cycle and you may have to go for some safety strategies, which sadly happened here. And now we have the trash compactor flying. You can see these two towers of trash piles, well, piling up, and we have to wait for them to be able to climb upwards here to get to the next checkpoint. So this is just a little bit of waiting around. If Dyan would have done this room completely perfectly, he would have gotten an early cycle. And we're into a Scrambler. Scrambler is basically once another cycle-based boss. As long as you stand close to him, he will always do the same attacks in the same order. You just have to be mentally aware of which part of the fight you're in. Now there's a little bit of a trick going on here, because once you completely deplete his health, he's not done yet, because he actually has a second phase, which is actually easier than his first one because he has less movement to do, and that was a pretty good fight there, my sir.
Yeah, that was actually.
And with that, we have completed Chapter 2. We get our next ability, which is going to be the Rising Fire ability. Now, what that ability does, if Dyan stands on the ground, presses down and the attack button, he will do an upward motion with his arm and shoot out 3 fireballs in an arc. If he doesn't have any SP, he still will do the arm swipe motion, which actually will deal damage to enemies, so we can still use that. However, the fire doesn't come out, so the ranged portion of that attack is gone. And now we get into the Mecha City Ruins, the 3rd chapter. Things are starting, to slowly ramp up in difficulty here. Once again, you see these poison blasts. Once again, they're on a cycle, as are the enemies. They will actually try to actively block you from reaching where they go. However, they have a little bit of momentum going on, so they can't instantly turn around, which is obviously to our favor. Then we have these red blocks. They will start to crumble once we go ahead and touch them. So, be careful when you make your way over these poison waters, which are obviously an instant kill if you fall into them. We don't want to do that. And now we go into a subway car, and we do some very specific damage boosts with these large ant-like enemies. So as I said before, if you get hit, Shadow will fall back or get knocked back just a little bit. However, if you are able to turn around at the instant you get hit, it will actually propel you forward, making that section just this little bit faster to get through. It's, again, a very precise thing that you can do, or basically have to do during the speedrun. And he just did it perfectly there, once again. Damage boosting all over the place. If you played games like Mega Man, Castlevania, all that stuff, you basically know what you're talking about. Getting the latch clip here, very nicely done. So there's actually a unintended mechanic in the game, because obviously if you were to walk off a platform, you have a little bit of coyote time before Shadow starts falling down from a platform. However, if you were to jump up from a lower platform, and just as you are on the downward movement of your jump, so basically after you hit the apex and you press whatever it is, the direction of the platform that is in, Shadow actually grabs onto the ledge, so you're being able to, skip a couple of platform jumps that we would normally have to do here. This shuriken throw is very specific because these blue enemies actually take 2 hits to die, so Dyan throws out the shuriken, then sword slashes him, so he is able to just, keep his momentum going forward so he doesn't have to stop and kill that enemy. Now we are introduced to the mines here. You can see them blinking around here. They will actually explode in 2 different directions that are opposite to each other, so either up and down or left and right. You can kind of see it with the pulsating that's going on the mine, which direction it is they're going to go ahead and explode in. And then we get introduced to not only the laser blasts coming from up top trying to kill us, but also these flying enemies who drop these mines to the left and right side. Which will be a little bit of a problem later on in the game. And once again, bottomless pits here, going for the damage boost through, I don't remember what these guys are called. We're not getting the strike light here, we will talk about that a little later, but we are going into the next mini-boss, which is going to be the Hunter Tank. What we have to do, we have to destroy the thing on top of it, and then it will open up the middle section. And now Dyan is trying to go for some blade cancels here with some rising fires in it. That was a very good fight, once again, very fast. We probably didn't even see him use the Rising Fire because he was already cancelling it with his Sword Slashes. But yeah, that was a boss fight. We got another health upgrade, so we're up to 8 points of health now. Which is actually very important because you can grab a lot more health upgrades and SP upgrades, but you're basically on a gonna go ahead and grab the required amount, quote unquote. You don't have to pick up the upgrades. You have a choice to do so, but obviously, you know, we want to get every advantage that we can as fast as we can. We're not gonna get out of our way to pick up any more upgrades. So our health, or total health rather, will start to be a little bit of a problem a little later into the run here.
Yeah, you keep getting stronger, but so does the game, so do you.
Ah, beautiful. That was a very precise shuriken throw that he just did there, because he was trying to hit that enemy floating above the screen there. However, that shuriken can either hit the wall, it can hit the lantern, or completely miss. So you have, I don't want to say a 25% chance to actually hit that, because only it is 4 options, but there is so much involved into that specific throw. It is very precise and you nail it.
That's why they call it a snipe for a reason.
Yes.
There's a very few frames you can actually hit it. Okay, so this room actually makes it so you have yeah, like we said earlier, there's a lot of cycles in this room. So if I go the way I did right now with damage boost, I know that the flames here in the upper room are in just the right position for me to carefully jump over them and avoid actually getting hit by them and falling back down.
Exactly. And now we are making our last climb of the 3rd chapter in order to reach the next boss, which is going to be the Biohunter. Now, the Biohunter is a very peculiar boss in that he, well, likes to stay outside of our reach. So what we do is we're going to buy a specific upgrade, which is going to be the Swag Blade, which is basically a yo-yo that we can slash away from us with our sword, just like that. And so Dime will stand underneath the Biohunter once he actually comes into the screen and basically shoot the yo-yo upward with the Rising Fire ability, and then take the momentum off the Swag Blade to continuously hit him in the air. Once he gets on the ground with a couple more slashes, we'll put him into phase 2. He will now destroy the roof that we are on and fall down. And if you are very precise with your attacks, you can actually hit Biohunter while he's still in his kneeling situation right here. And that is the boss fight.
Phew, I was scared for a second because the Swag Blade did not go in the direction I wanted.
Yeah, the Swag Blade is definitely a mechanic or a sub-weapon that you have to get used to. It's not easy to learn, because if you hit that thing in the wrong direction, it takes a while for it to come back and spiral around so you can actually start hitting it again. So you just really have to have a lot of practice with that weapon. Our reward for that is our next ability, the Pogo. I forgot the actual name.
It's called the Airstrike, but we call it a Pogo.
Because that is exactly what it does. You know, if you play games like DuckTales, you basically know what this is doing. You basically use it in the air to set your sword ablaze into this downward slash. Once again, it uses a little bit of SP to actually have the flame come out. If you don't have any SP and you use the ability, you don't get the flames, but it still deal damage. Now, what we do here, nice. We need the Swag Blade for a speed strat, because while Diane was in the water, he manipulated the Swag Blade in a very specific motion, so can actually hit a little bit of TNT up there in the cave to blast away the rocks that we need for our exit once we are done with the Monkey Shrine, which we are going to now.
Yeah, the Monkey Shrine is basically a challenge location where you actually have to prove yourself, because we're right now in some sort of spirit world. They call it the Ethos. And you have to... Oh, okay. That was misinput.
Nobody saw that.
So what you have to do is you have to beat the monkey to the top by climbing. So it takes some very precise timing and movement to manipulate the Swag Blade, your jumps, and the way that you manipulate the Pogo to just hit that lantern to get the right height you need to absolutely destroy the monkey. So, bye-bye monkey!
So one thing to keep in mind here, before patch 1.3, I think you said it was, the Swag Blade was actually able to destroy the lanterns that we used to make the climb go faster. And that made it very hard to do the climb while you had the Swag Blade. But you actually want the Swag Blade for the next chapter, so there was a bit of a give and take going on there. It was very peculiar to learn that, but ever since patch 1.3, the Swag Blade doesn't actually affect the lanterns anymore, making that climb way easier than it was in the beginning of the game. And with that, we now have the wall climb ability. We can basically now cling to the walls and do our wall jumpy things. And we're on to chapter 4, the reactor.
Oh boy.
And this is where the game, as if it wasn't hard already, will get even harder, because we are about to hit the midway point of the game already. And every single enemy, every single attack will start to deal 2 damage to us now. So basically cutting our health in half, so to speak.
Okay.
And yeah, we basically die twice as fast now. Instead of the 8 HP we have now, we basically have 4, if you think about it. In the beginning, we have to go to the left and right, hitting 2 switches here. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and throw a shuriken at the switch, so we don't actually have to traverse all the length of the room. And obviously, our enemies are not behaving the way they want to.
Got it.
There we go. All right, Fluffy wasn't in the way. That is good. But once again, these are very precise movements. They are not easy to do, especially if you are under a pressure situation in a marathon here. But dying is just nailing it over here. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, going through the Howards here, we are now coming up to the, well, most known mechanic of Chapter 4, which is going to be these elevator shafts, I want to say. Coming up in just a second here. Before we get to that, we saw the floaties. You can see these helicopter thingies all throughout the stage. If you hit them, they fall into the water, creating a sort of raft that you can use to traverse the water, but they only stay there for a limited amount of time, so they're not there for the whole duration, which will be a thing to look out for a little bit later into the level, specifically the boss fight. So these are the towers that I was talking about a little bit before. Every time you hit them, they go down the shaft just a little bit and then be invulnerable for a short while until they open up again. So you can hit them again and repeat the cycle. So it's a very specific timing that you have to get down or to go there fast. Now we're gonna go ahead into the first cyberspace section. What you're normally supposed to do here is kill a bunch of enemies, but more importantly, hit a couple triggers like that green one over there, perfectly. The thing is, the very first one here is bugged, so we only have to hit the first switch in order to make this wall disappear so we can continue on to level. Normally there's actually a second switch, so we'd have to spend a lot more time in the cyberspace, but like I said, the first one is bugged. We only have to hit the first switch and we are good to go. And this is actually how fast you can die in this game, because all these spikes you can see to the left and right there are instant kills, and they do not care if you have iframes or not. If you touch them, you will die. And believe you me, if you start to just casually play this game, or even if you start to attempt to speedrun, you will die. That is not an exception. This will happen. So while we are going through this part of the game again, I think we have a donation to read.
We sure do. We have a donation by Eric's33 with 20 euros saying, "Good luck, Dyanketo, on the upcoming Cyber Shadow run."
Thank you very much for your donation. And yes, we can definitely use all the luck we can get, because once again, this game is hard. You know, you can see Dyan struggle a little bit here and there, and he has played the game a fucking lot. I am not sorry for saying that way, because it just is true. And, you know, even he can have a few problems here and there. And that just goes to show you how much training and practice actually goes into perfecting this game.
I tried to go for the very hard strat there. That was an unfortunate death. I tried there. It's called another strat for a reason, because you're insane if you try to pull it off. And I thought, you know what? This is a marathon run. Why not? You know,
exactly,
show off the cool side of the game. Uh-oh.
Pull a little bit of a show here. But yeah, as you saw there, we take a lot of damage from this point onwards in the game, and it's only going to get worse. And this is actually one of the worst rooms in the game if you go for a speedrun strat, because you have to do everything perfectly in order to get this drop. This is so precise, because you have to make your way through all these rotating thingies there with all the spikes going around. And if you just basically a frame too late at this point, you will hit one of the rotating orbs and get knocked into the spikes. And as we said before, you do not have iframes when it comes to spikes, so you will die there. So that is a very precise trick, a very hard thing to pull off.
I am so glad I went for safety.
A marathon setting here. Okay, Fluffy is behaving. That is great. Luckily, there are a couple of safety health pickups that you can get every now and again, because the game tends to be a little bit stingy when it comes to, you know, restoring your health, unless you know all the quote-unquote secret pickups, because there actually are a couple here and there. So the game might not be as unforgiving as you might think if you just have a little bit of a look around here. And I absolutely hate this guy in particular, because he absolutely tends to chuck you down into the water. Fluffy behaving perfectly here, because that guy can absolutely block you from going through this very small space there. Now we're going through a little bit of water here. Careful of the squids.
Ooh, that was
weaving your way through.
Oh,
but the electricity is coming into the water, actually damaging you. You have to be very careful of that. We have a little more floats going on over here. The nice thing about the floats is every time they go into the water, they have a little bit of a antenna or something sticking out. If you go ahead and destroy that, you actually get a 1 SP refill. So if you were using a shuriken to basically make the floaty appear, you basically get that refunded. I'm gonna catch my breath for a moment here. Holy hell! Because we are coming up.
There's so much ground to cover.
We are coming up onto the mid-boss of the 4th chapter, which is gonna be Mecha Dragon. Now, Mecha Dragon is an absolute pain in our communicative behinds, because he is absolute RNG.
Blast RNG for this one.
We pick up the Blaster sub-weapon here for a very specific reason, which will come into play. There he goes. And Dyn is actually manipulating the floaties coming up from the top. Because this is Mecha Dragon. We're going to try and deal as much damage to him as we can. Okay, we basically got rid of his first health, but that is good. We may be able to two-cycle him, actually. Depending on if he wants to or not. Let's see where he comes from. Okay, all of our tokens are destroyed. That isn't very good. Just missed it by a hair. So yeah, this is Mecha Dragon. The best you can get is a 2-cycle generally. This was a 3-cycle, still a very good fight. Like I said, this is completely up to RNG because you don't know if Mecha Dragon will come from the left or the right side. You don't know which phase transition he does, if he goes up and down or from the left to the right. The floaties coming up from the top are RNG, so you don't know where actually platforms are going to be. It is hell. In this fight, another, subsection here, we're going to use the Shuriken to get rid of all the flames. Then we're going to quickly attack this crystal, which will spawn out these spirits going up to the flames. If they hit a flame, a ninja will come out. And we do not want these ninjas to hit the ground, because once they hit the ground, they will actually be able to block our attacks, making our lives really miserable in the process. And that was an absolutely perfect crystal fight.
Yeah, that went really well. We're really lucky it didn't go that wide.
Yes. Because, once again, it is RNG where these spirits actually go, so you kind of want them to come down from the middle so you can just stay there and continuously damage the crystal. But if they go to the left or the far left and right, obviously you have to go to these points in the room to get rid of the ninjas. Our upgrade that we got there is the sword level 2, so our sword now deals 2 points of damage instead of just 1. Alright, there we go. And yeah, now we're getting into the later part of Chapter 4, which is, well, hard.
Yeah.
As if you thought it was hard so far, yeah, no, we are still upping the ante here even more. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to take this blaster all the way, not only to the end of Chapter 4, but ideally also into Chapter 5. And maybe even Chapter 6. Now, Dyn actually doesn't go for this strat. He will pick up another sub-weapon in just a little bit. But keep in mind, with the sub-weapons, the way they work is they have 3 HP each. So on a third hit that you take, they will get destroyed. Meaning that if you were to pick up the blaster before Mecha Dragon, you would have to take that thing all the way to the end of Chapter 4, all the way through Chapter 5, to the end of Chapter 6, only with getting hit twice because you're there, which is insane. However, we're picking up the E-Shield here. It basically has the same function. Once the shield is out, if you attack then, you will shoot out this projectile, disabling the shield, and you have to wait for it to recharge.
I'm gonna restart this.
All right, that is probably a good thing to do, because once again, we will try and take this E-Shield at least through a lot of Chapter 5 here. And if he's already got hit during this boss fight, that would only be 1 point of the health bar of the E-Shield, which you can see in the upper left corner with these 3 orange bars at the far top left. Now, this is a vessel defense system, and this was basically a perfect fight. See, he even killed that boss before I was able to explain what the fuck was going on here. A common theme with this game. Yeah, vessel defense system. If you want to know how this fight works, basically go to our Discord server, have a look at the Cyber Shadow strategy resource guide that this crazy guy actually put together. And we are getting our next ability, which is going to be the parry. Now, the
That's
parry,
an absolutely busted ability.
It absolutely is, because it basically allows us to do what it says. It allows us to parry projectiles. Now, how does this work? Well, let me tell you. If you are about to get hit by a projectile, you have basically a very small frame window to press in the direction that the projectile is coming from. So if you're getting shot from the left, you have to press left, because we know it's coming from the left, and then you parry it. What that does is it holds the projectile in place, and then you can use your sword to shoot that projectile back at the way it came from, dealing a lot of damage, actually.
Yeah, it deals like 1.5 to twice as much damage as that you're normally supposed to deal. So attacks suddenly start dealing 4 or 5 damage, which is really beneficial if you absolutely want to shred enemies.
Yes. So we're now in Chapter 5, the laboratory, and let me just tell you now, purple in this game is bad. Whenever you see the color purple, you know you are basically in trouble, because we have all these spikes going on, we have these biological growths blocking our way, shooting projectiles at us, but more importantly are these purple enemies, and they are literal hell to deal with, because they are actually programmed in such a way that they are actively trying to block your movements, especially the purple flying ones there. The spiders are a little bit easier to deal with, but purple flying enemies, we are not friends with them.
We're not friends with them. I actually call them Purple Demon in my own environment.
For a good reason.
they fly around. They, like you said, they actively try to block you. And it's a real nuisance if you try to just get past it, because it will fly in your way. It will shark underneath the platform, so you're not even safe on standing on platforms. Yeah, just get rid of them as much as possible.
Yes. You do not want them for them to linger along the screen. Also, fun fact, these purple groves trying to chase us here, they are an instant kill, so, you know, don't make too many mistakes while trying to traverse this absolute hell of a stage. And now we actually made it. This is what we need the E-shield for, because Dyan can now use the shield to shoot a projectile behind this blocking door there, hit that button, and basically skip 1 or 2 rooms off the level, because otherwise we'd have to go all this walk of shame up on top of that, wasting about 20 seconds or so. That is what we want the E-shield for. You can do that with the E-shield or with the blaster, as I said before. So we got one of the skips in Chapter 5. There is still a second one coming up. He is still not allowed to get hit 3 times, because that gets rid of the E-shield and our opportunity to get that second skip. Now this is Alpha 1. It's going to be another boss fight in just a second. Spoilers here. He actually managed to get the Dyan box at the top of the screen there, because now what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go to the left, then walk all the way back to the right, and then to the left again. However, with a very specific skip he was managed to do. He actually skipped all that, saving about 5 to 6 seconds, I think. You know, having to do the walk back and forth.
It's depending on whether you land on a certain side or not.
Yeah.
Whether it's like 6 to 7 seconds. And the way it works is you have a very specific spawning location where actually the box is active that somehow Alpha makes it appear. And it was actually accidentally discovered because I did a pogo. I wanted to land faster. And then suddenly he appeared and I was completely aghast at that point.
And that is basically why we call it the Dyan box, because he discovered it. Alright, coming up is Alpha 1, the actual boss fight against the blue robot we just saw. And this is basically the boss fight that really introduces you to the parry mechanic, because he's going to shoot a lot of projectiles at us. And if we parry them perfectly, we can deal a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. Just look at that health bar just absolutely melting away here, and that was the boss fight.
Yeah, that was Alpha 1.
I barely get to explain the strats here, dude. Slow down a bit.
I'm not even going to try to slow down.
I know. But yeah, we're still not done with this section because, you know, obviously not. This was way too easy so far, so let's have a lot more spikes. Again, if he gets hit 3 times, that E-shield is gone, and so is opportunity to get that skip that we talked about.
This room is very cursed.
Yeah, say hello to Stalker Orb. He will try to follow us a little bit, but if we do this perfectly, he will get a restraining order, not be able to follow us anymore. Very good.
Yeah, that Stalker Orb has been absolutely haunting people in the course of this run. It's called a Stalker Orb for a reason.
Yes.
It has killed people in marathons. It is insane.
Yeah. So here we're skipping a health upgrade because this would only be a partial health upgrade. You have to collect 3 of them to actually get a complete health refill. And we got the second skip very good. So again, there is another door at the other side of the room that we're gonna get to after this boss fight, because this is Subject Alpha version 2. He's gonna go a little bit strange here. Now he has an eye in the front of his chest that we can go hit, but we do not want to hit it with our sword, because he's actually shooting out projectiles that, if we parry them and shoot them back at him, deals way more damage than our sword strikes. However, you can only get in 1 sword strike between his eye blinking.
Yes!
So, yeah. Can you let me finish, please?
That was a 1 cycle, and it's really hard to pull that off, so I was very happy I could show that off.
Because the way this works is if you hit the eye with your sword while you're actually trying to repel the sword strike, you hit them with your sword and it only deals 2 damage. However, the reflected projectile deals about 5, so you massively reduce the damage you can deal. This is the Falcon Shrine. It's a joke, and we are going to get our next ability, which is going to be the dash. And from here on out, this game becomes great, because this is basically the best ability in the whole game.
I even have goosebumps getting it.
It is so good. When I first played this game casually, I did not understand how this ability works. But, you know, just look at this. This is what Dyan can do now. Well, if he spends 1 SP, he can do the dash with the blue after image, and this actually allows him to chain them. Because if you dash through an enemy, you actually get and kill the enemy. That is very important. You actually get refunded 1 SP, so you can chain these dashes to go immensely fast through the next stages. However, if you don't have any SP, not only do you become sad, but the dash also has reduced range. You do not regenerate your SP even if you kill an enemy with the dash, and it will be all around slow times. So your SP management becomes critically important from the rest of the game from here on out.
Yeah, I'm trying to route every enemy possible to dash through it, to regain SP and to keep on dash chaining to gain as much speed as possible. So every movement that I'm going to try on this chapter is very, very specific.
So this is the Robot Factory, as you saw on the map screen here. This is a very horizontal-based level, and it is basically there to teach you how the dash works, because there are a lot of opportunities to chain dashes to make your movement, look like this. I mean, this is basically what we're gonna see from here on out. Basically, perfect dashing through the enemies, also through the objects like the lanterns, which will also refill your SP if you manage to get through them. And this is the absolute worst enemy in the game, the spinning blade that actually will appear if you hit the alarm system all around this level. You can see it with the red lasers all over the place, because the spinning blade here deals you 3 damage to you. Now remember, we only have 8 HP, so 3 hits of that thing and we are toast. We get sent back to the last checkpoint, and it will be over all sad times. And you can see there are a lot of screens that go on for a long while, so this blade can actually be, chasing you down. It's basically another stalker trying to get an autograph for you, but we absolutely don't want to get that.
Yeah, the Angry Sun is definitely an enemy you don't want to mess around with.
Oh yeah, Angry Sun, sorry, you're right.
Oh, it's fine. The Eye of Sauron.
Well, whatever it is. And that is actually the end of Chapter 6. We're actually on to the next boss fight.
Tunnel Cleaner.
This is Tunnel Cleaner. There's a very specific strat.
I need a bit of audio silence here. Okay, we're mostly good. Uh-oh. Yes! That shuriken saved me.
Yeah. So this is a very specific strat, because as you probably guessed, you can only hit Tunnel Cleaner when his eye is completely open and only for 1 hit. So you're trying to basically stack your damage by parrying these projectiles and hitting them all at once, so they hit Tunnel Cleaner at the same frame, dealing massive amounts of damage to him. And once you get to the second health bar, he summons these mines that go all the way through the screen. And what Dyan was trying to do there was trying to stack them on top of each other, so if they hit them back and to the right, they hit, once again, Tunnel Cleaner at the same frame, dealing a massive amount of damage, getting rid of that health bar in an instant. And there's actually an achievement for that specific fight to finish it in under 30 seconds. But I think you just did it in about 12 or so I guess we're good. These are the smashes, I think they're called, the doors?
These are the knock-knocks.
The knock-knocks, sorry.
So there's plenty of opportunities for every joke on doors that you can do.
Yeah.
But if you thought that door was bad, wait until you see more of these.
Yes.
Yes.
If you play this casually, you will not like the knock-knocks, because
they will knock you around.
Yes. They will absolutely destroy you the first time around if you don't know how to manipulate the eye that's coming out, because not only will the eye try shooting projectiles at you, but also these cannons at the top and bottom there will start shooting at you, and with the moving platforms that you have to navigate to, even to be able to hit them, it can be a thing. And now we are going up into the bug nest, as you can probably also see by all these flying enemies trying to absolutely murder us here. And it's not a fun time, especially if you don't have a lot of SP to work around with, because there are a lot of flying enemies around here, which will just absolutely ruin your day if you let them.
And we're not going to let them. I'm just going to fly past them.
Hopefully. So you can also see these green poison bubbles. They actually come in 2 different sizes. And the bigger ones, once they burst, an actually skull-like enemy will come out of them, and that will try to chase you down, and also like this, and will absolutely deal massive amounts of damage to you. Now, we actually managed to pick up a SP dispenser as our sub-weapon here, and this is going to be our best friend from here on onward, because what it does is periodically replenishes our SP just like that. And as you can imagine, since our SP management is so critical for the rest of the run, we absolutely love our little buddy here, and we will try to take the utmost care to preserve them as long as we can. Because another thing you have to keep in mind is you can find these sub-weapons at specific points in a level or as upgrades at a checkpoint. However, if you die, you also cannot replenish your SP dispenser. If Dyan dies at any point here, he will not get another one until he hits a specific checkpoint where he can pick up another. And now we are onto another cyberspace here. This one is also very particular. Taking a second hit already. Gotta be very careful.
Yeah, I'll take safety precautions over here.
That is
I want to keep this as long as I can.
Yeah. Because we actually have a section coming up where the SP dispenser will be basically invaluable to us. I mean, you can call down on the value.
Oh boy, I was afraid of that.
Yes, that is gonna be maybe a bit of a problem. I guess Dyan has a backup in mind already, or trying to formulate one. Why that is bad, we'll get on about a second, because we just opened up the door to another part of the laboratory, which will be the last shrine that we will get to. It will be the Dragon Shrine, and as you can imagine, you know, Dragon Shrines are probably important in the story. What the Dragon Shrine does, we don't get a new ability. Instead, it upgrades all of them. So
every single
one that we've gotten so far will get upgraded here. So we can now charge our Shuriken to deal more damage. The Rising Fire will turn into Rising Phoenix, because dealing even more damage. The Pogo gets also a charge ability, dealing more damage, giving us more height. We have a double jump now, finally.
Thank God. I could have used that a little bit earlier.
Yeah, just keep in mind, you know, this is a Ninja Gaiden-like game. We didn't have a double jump up until now. And also the dash gets upgraded, but I forgot what it does now.
Spawns extra shadow abilities that you can use to have extra enemies meet. So the dash, basically, if you charge it, it just deals more damage over time.
Oh, yeah, right. That thing.
I really want to use SP here, though.
Yes. So now we're getting into Chapter 8. And, well, we are basically full-powered now. We have all of our abilities. And the game is going to become hard from now. I know I say that a lot, but we're just upping the ante here. And I'm actually going to give you a little bit of breathing room here, because the music in this chapter... It's so good! It's so good!
Also, after this chapter, I need to know if the egg incentive has been met or not. I'm going to restart this chapter.
Yes.
It's very cycle-based. I have to do this absolutely right. Oh, of course.
As it just so happens, we have to do this again. But, you know, we get to listen to the music a little bit more, so I count that as a win. But, yeah, the game is just become so hard from here on out. Basically, Dyan won't be able to talk a lot anymore, so I'm going to be doing most of the commentary. I've already done, so let's just keep on cracking. As you can see, all the rooms are full of traps. Now they are full of enemies. There are a lot of bottomless pits now, and you have to use all of your abilities to make it across these rooms. Basically, everything Dyan does here now is mostly, well, I don't want to say absolutely everything is going to be frame perfect, but the tricks are going to be so precise. It is... yeah, just a joy to watch if you can pull all of this off. Now, this is one of the very few checkpoints that you can get where you can actually buy an SP dispenser, and holy hell, you want to keep that as long as you can, because once again, if you don't have your SP here to be able to use a quote-unquote charged dash, it's not going to be fun. Ooh, gonna be careful here.
I'll just wait until that bomb goes away.
Yeah. Good call.
It just makes that cyber diver really hard.
Yes. Right. Right? Because we absolutely do want to keep our SP dispenser through this section here. That's fine. Let Dyan concentrate for just a moment. Alright, got this, buddy. Oh, nice!
Oh, that was scary.
So the reason why this is so scary, once again, the SP dispenser only has 3 HP, right? We were on the last hit, and we absolutely do want to keep that SP dispenser for the next part coming up. It's going to be an auto-scroller on Exo, the bike that we're going to have here. Now, the thing with Exo is we're going to go on a little bike, right, to get back into the city. And now, while we are on this bike, we actually cannot regenerate our SP with the dispenser, but instead, it will continuously give us essence. And once again, we need essence to be able to buy the sub-weapons at specific checkpoints. And since we are nearing the end of the game, we actually do want to make sure that we can buy all the sub-weapons at the specific points that we need them. So just having this little extra cushion of getting more essence, basically passively during this auto-scroller, is a huge boon to us. And for now, we're just going to let Dyan do his thing, because I think we have a lot of donations to go through.
Oh, I forgot that bit for a second, and it gave me a heart attack.
Dude, don't give me one as well.
Oh, I'm so sorry, everyone.
You're good.
Okay,
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
fine.
But yeah, Killer Chair, if you have a few donations to read, now is absolutely your time. Go through.
Absolutely. First of all, I just noticed the incentives. Do you want to know yet?
Yeah, I have to know the egg incentive if it's been met or not.
That one has not been met. About the other one, the color clash, can that still be done?
Yes, we can do that.
Absolutely, great, because that is currently 20 euros on green.
Oh, green! That's interesting.
I'm gonna be a green boy.
Do we want to leave that one open?
No, it can be closed.
All right, cool. Then I shall do that. Then on to the donations, because yes, we have had a few of them come on in.
Oh, Bob is dead.
First of all, we got Mini Sabrango 70 with 20 euros saying, good luck, Dyan. We got Miss LWD saying, great run, shout out to the runner and co-commentator. He keeps on going. Legends. And we have Tiny Tim with €5 saying, hey all, had to donate for the awesome Dyanketo and Cyber Shadow run. Shout outs to Aishma on commentary and good luck with the run. Cheers. And finally we have Walexa with €10 saying, good luck with the run, Diane. It's time for a good bashing.
All right, into the second half of the 8th chapter now, after our smooth bike ride there. I haven't been talking for like a minute or so, I'm totally out of it. There is a skip here that you can do with this door.
Oh, no!
I didn't get absolutely blocked here, because what you can do here, instead of having to destroy this door...
And I got
that. Was enough. Well, you get another chance at that now, I guess.
Yeah, I could show it off how it works.
So I'm not going to explain it just now, I'm just going to wait until you're there again, and then explain what happened.
Yeah, there's a very specific setup that I'm trying to do here, which has to deal with manipulating how the opponents spawn to get at the right position to get these guys in and then tie to the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Because the thing you gotta have in mind, even if you respawn at one of these checkpoints, that doesn't mean you get refilled all of your HP. You actually have to pay for an upgrade to that specific checkpoint to make that appear. So instead you get spawned in again at your base HP, which is 5, and also not a lot. And there we go. So obviously you're not supposed to go through that door the way you did, but what you can do is, if the hitbox of these green flying enemies overlap with the hitbox of the door, you can actually dash through them, the enemies that is, and that puts you behind the door, letting you skip having to destroy the door in order to go through it. And now we're into EXO. You know, this is a little bit of, I don't want to say it's an auto-scroller per se, but it takes the steam off just a little bit because, you know, EXO is pretty powerful. You can just run to the right continuously and shoot. You still have to be a little bit mindful of your HP because if you die, you get sent back all the way to the beginning of this section where the last checkpoint was. Unless you hit this one and get a full refill. Very nice. And, you know, it just gives you a small breather. And coming up, we got onto the gunship. So let's see if Dyan can get another 2 cycle on that thing here. Good. Sure. Let's see it. Ah, sadly gonna be a 3 cycle. There we go.
Oh, funny.
Gonna pick that up.
Yeah, while the dropship is falling, might as well get some spare change going.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind that.
I don't think that boss basically needs any explanation. You saw what happened there. Just shoot it until it dies. It's actually an achievement you can get, which is a control reference. However, I forgot the name of it.
Let's attack aggressively.
Attack aggressively, yeah, thank you. That is exactly what Dyan did just there. So we're at the second part of the EXO phase now. And we're gonna have a boss fight, I want to say. An old buddy is gonna show up in just a minute here. And
yeah, I'm gonna need absolute focus for that.
Yes.
It's gonna be a tough fight.
Yes, especially with the health.
I'm not gonna risk that one.
Yes.
I have had happen to it before. Usually I stack damage on enemies. I have
get a
had
full
rare
refill.
encounters where enemies stack damage on me and suddenly I am dead.
That's not good. So yeah, this is Apparator again. You might recognize him from the very first chapter of the game. So let's see how that boss fight goes.
Yeah, let's just chart up. Let's get up and just
Not looking
Ishmael?
good. Not looking good.
help. Can you help me? This isn't looking too...
No, this is not looking good. You're getting
help.
blasted there.
Panic!
Oh, you survived. You survived.
I have 1 health.
All
I
right,
have 1
let's go.
health. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, this is a scripted thing. You can't do absolutely nothing there. He just absolutely murders you and EXO. So
Unfortunately.
F's in chat for EXO. He did his thing. Or she did his thing, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something extremely stupid. I have 1 health.
Oh boy. So what you normally do here is you grab that checkpoint and you restart because, you know, getting respawned at the checkpoint refills your health. So Dyan is going to attempt one of the hardest sections in the game with 1 HP. So
Do you see all these spikes? Yeah, they love me.
I don't think they do. I really don't. But yeah, as you can see, we're going to do a lot of dashing from this one onward. And just keep in mind, we are still in Chapter 8. Yes, this is still going on. And this room, oh god, yeah, this is...
Yes.
This is basically a run killer. This room is so hard to get with all the mines, with the angry sun chasing you, with all the projectiles going on, and the normal enemies. It is a thing to get through. If you watch one of my runs, don't watch that room. It is not fun to watch. And getting for a hell refill here.
A Deathloop for... Okay, I'm just going to reset. That was very unfortunate, but...
Oh, now you do that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I wanted to keep the SP dispenser, which is really beneficial.
Yes.
However, having the alarm makes it really unpredictable, and I really don't want to deal with that room. With the alarm, with the angry sun, with more angry zoomers flying around, it's just all hell, and I can...
Yeah, the thing with the alarm is, you know, it's basically pick your poison, because if you trigger the alarm, obviously more enemies like the turrets and the angry sun will spawn. However, this also gives you more opportunities with the dash to actually go faster than if they weren't there. So, you know, it's a bit of a bind that you find yourself in.
It's only 2 SP regeneration. This is really strict right now.
So if you've been paying attention, this part of Chapter 8 is basically a retread of all of the previous chapters. So we've just been in the Robot Factory, which was Chapter 6. We are now back in the reactor, in a different part, though, of Chapter 4. And this will basically keep on happening until we've made our way all the way back to Chapter 3, where the game will actually continue up into Chapter 9.
I needed that drop.
Like we said before, if you have 1 SP and you charge through an enemy and kill it, this will actually refund that SP, so you can do infinite, or basically infinite dashes through the enemies. So having just 1 SP is of such critical value to us from this point onward. And it's even better if you can kill multiple enemies with 1 dash, because, you know, you get refunded even more SP to be able to continue up the cycle. Another vertical climb here with these purple enemies, which are absolute hell. And with that, we are back at the docks, and we are now finally able to make our way into Chapter 9, the Mecha City docks. And this is, once again, where the game ramps up the difficulty.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing up till Chapter 10. This chapter mainly introduces the bombs here in the water, and they deal like 7 damage, so a single bomb will just ruin your entire run.
Absolutely.
And you're not trying to dive into them.
Yes.
Like, swimming with mines sounds fun in games, but in this game, yeah, just don't try it.
So yeah, basically what we're going to see here, speaking of the mines, we will see Dyn do a lot of dashes. However, you know, he still has that little safety cushion of the water there, even if the mines are in there, which will absolutely try to murder him. But if he fails one of his dashes, he doesn't at least immediately die, as will happen in, well, the next chapter, basically. Oh, taking the high road here. Interesting.
Yeah, the next chapter doesn't even have a floor.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun.
So enjoy it while it lasts, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm glad I have a little bit of water. Oh, this is good.
Oh,
I'm going to show this off. Nice.
Very well. Oh my god.
So the way that works is somehow the developer forgot to put a trigger on the box, and you can just dash through spikes. Oh, I am getting that checkpoint.
Speaking of triggers,
I got it.
You normally are supposed to defeat this growth on this boat.
That was weird. I got actually float back up and down.
So what you're normally supposed to do here is attack and kill this growth on the boat, so you can actually start, so you can get onto the boat, right? However, there's a very specific trigger that you can hit by jumping in the water there, and that just automatically triggers the boat right back in the second just a little bit faster. Now we are on to another auto-stroller with all these enemies coming in from the sides. We hate the purple ones, again, because when they die and drop down onto the boat, they leave behind these purple flames, and they deal like 2 or 3 damage to you, I think, at this point?
Yeah, they deal 3 damage, but we use a very specific setup to actually get through the boat safely. And this is mainly an auto-scroller, and the thing is, I play this game on 60 Hz, and there might be an enemy not spawning, and that actually causes a slow boat, so I need everybody's wishes to be this a fast boat, because it's going to save 15 seconds.
So we can have either a slow boat or a fast boat here, depending on this very particular enemy spawns. And it's kind of like a refresh rate thing that is going to happen. Very good. Because sometimes this particular enemy that we saw spawn in the background that doesn't spawn. So at the end of the boat ride, the game gets kind of confused. Like, you kind of didn't kill that one particular enemy, so what am I supposed to do with you? And it thinks about that for a couple of seconds before it lets you go on onto Chapter 10. So that loses you like 15 seconds, I think you just said.
I'm going to show Bob anyway.
Bad. But we got it.
This is Bob. He's a diving instructor.
Hi, Bob.
He shows you how to dive.
At the cost of his very own life, but, you know, that is what teachers do, I suppose. And that was the end of Chapter 9. We're now into Chapter 10, sorry, the Mecha Island Spaceport. So I think you want to go for the Combinatron skip?
Yeah, I'm going to attempt it at least a couple of times. It might save time. If I get his first try, I swear, I'm going to eat a shoe. I should not say that on stream. Help.
This is a double frame perfect trick. Okay, we didn't get it at this point because what you're supposed... This is actually the arena of a boss fight. However, what Dyn can do is he can jump in the middle here. And just as he is about to hit the ground, he can do 2 double frame perfect inputs to dash behind the wall of flame that you can see appear on the right side of the screen here.
Okay,
if he manages to dash behind the flame wall, he can actually completely skip this boss fight.
Oh, that was a reverse double dash. Okay. I don't like that. I'm just going to try. I said one more try, but you know how that goes, right? One more run. Oh, I actually got it!
So hey, I don't have to explain that boss fight, I guess.
No, we do not see Combinatron tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have just skipped an entire segment of a boss.
Now the downside of that is because Combinatron would actually give us another HP upgrade, so we now basically have to do with less HP. And just look at this. This looks so good if you get all these chain dashes in front of that room there.
But my floor is gone.
Yeah, the floor is definitely gone. We will not see it again for quite a while. So all the dashes that Dyan is going to do here, you know, all this blue thing there on the ground, that is an instant kill. If he hits that, he is gone. And he also loses his SP dispenser, as we established earlier. We do not want to do that. So all these dashes, they are very precise. Okay.
Back up.
Okay, safety. Because what happens if Shadow gets hit while he's in the air, that completely stops his momentum, so you cannot dash anymore. So anytime you get hit in the air, it basically spells your doom, because, yeah, you're not gonna dash anymore. There is floor, but it is deadly, so GG's, I suppose.
Yeah, the floor is spikes.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna gamble my chances on that.
Yeah, that's not good.
A date with spikes is not really the one thing I'm looking forward to.
No, absolutely not. So Dyan is purposely depleting his SP here, so he can go for a couple of dashes through the whole of this room. Going through here, there is another SP refill at the top there. And then we are further into that. More couple perfectly timed out dashes into the next room. Hitting the switch to make the blaster at the right disappear. And now there is another one of these purple growth walls to the right of the blast doors here. So what Dyan is going to do is parrying these projectiles, making the wall appear, and immediately killing it by reflecting those projectiles. Well done. That saves just a little bit of having to deal with that wall. Up until the next boss fight, which is going to be Spider Rail. He's already damaging the boss with his Rising Phoenix ability. The way Spider Rail works is you have to defeat all of these green little eyes around it, so you can actually able to dash at the main one, and it's going to be shooting some onion rings at you. And what optimally happens, you deflect all the onion rings and just murder Spider Rail where it was just now. Didn't quite get it, but still a very fast fight.
Phew.
And with that said and done, it's up into the final chapter of the game.
With the hardest rooms of the game.
Yeah.
Complete flying RNG.
It's gonna be fun, because how can you make this game even harder? Well, we traversed a little bit to left and right most of the time now. So instead, now we're gonna have traversal upwards. So basically vertically now. Now, we don't have a lot of tools to deal with. And
I'm gonna have to restart this.
Yes. Once again, this is all cycle-based on the moving platforms that you can see here. However, the movement of the enemies is RNG, and you still need the enemies to pogo off of them in order to reach some of these platforms. So this is a very stressful one, because once again, all these purple robots are programmed in a way to actively try to block Dyan's movement.
Nice.
All right, looking good. Taking a moment to rest here, and we're into the second part. It's not over yet. This one is a little bit easier because, as you can see, he's hitting these reddish orbs. However, some of these have enemies in them, and even if they don't show the enemy, you can already hit them. All the other orbs are just there for show. You cannot hit them, and this is the final climb of the game.
Oops.
All right, didn't quite
I actually got confused for a second.
Beautifully executed. And we are now into the final boss rush. There are going to be 3 boss fights that we're going to do. First off is Apparator. Once again, the guy we defeated at the end of Chapter 1. He is an absolute pushover. With all the abilities required throughout the game, Dyan will just make absolutely short work of this guy.
Yeah, just keep explaining it. I just lost focus for a second.
Just go for it. So we got basically, once the dialogue is over, just throw a shuriken, go for the dashes. This will be the Apparator dance. And yeah, that guy is basically gone already as soon as he appears back on screen. Because, you know, we don't like him. There he goes.
That was Apparator.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And we're on to the first phase of the final boss, Dr. Progen, I think it was called. The way this fight works, he will, you can already see him on screen there, but he has this shield around him. And if you hit that shield, obviously it opens up the capsule. However, you also get knocked back quite a ways away. So what you're going to do here is you're going to try and parry these floating fireballs. Because they'll shoot these projectiles upward. And if you manage to parry these projectiles and reflect them back onto Progen, he just dies basically instantly. So yeah, that was the first phase. This is the second phase now. He will fly up into the air, being very hard to hit once he actually gets there. There's a lot of going on there. There are like 3 groves on him that you can defeat in order to free these orbs. Now, the green orb will...
Need that?
Damn it, got the do. The blue orb basically gives you a shield that makes you immune for a little while. You get the red orb, which basically increases your range of your weapon, so you can go ahead and destroy one of the groves that are coming to go up there. We have the green orb, which gives you platforms so you can actually be able to hit Progenitor. I don't get to explain anything in Progenitor.
That was Progenitor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was the last boss fight. It is not time yet, because we still have to do a little bit of the game.
Ooh, that was so close.
That was very close there, my friend.
I was counting the explosions to get actually like 0.3 seconds faster downwards, avoiding a death plane there. Now, of course, you think the game is over, but no, it throws meteors at you, and now you have to hide behind it. So you just had a very difficult boss, and this is just, very dangerous, and I'm just messing with everybody. I can move it around.
Yeah, this is basically the calm after the storm at this point. You basically know this one. You don't know if you will PB yet, because there is still a little bit of tech left to do if Elgion basically saves us from the fall there. Because we
saves us from the fall. Do you have any idea what kind of a distance he's throwing us from? Just look at this in a second.
I mean, come on, with everything that we have been through, this is a very small distance compared to falling down from space back to Earth.
Yeah, okay, that's true. So the final thing that happens here is we get all charged up, but we kind of skip this Super Saiyan animation effect. Okay, finally. You basically skip the entire charging cutscene that just gives you this ability of oversensing overpoweredness. And with power comes a price. I am rapidly losing my health here, as you can see in the top right corner.
And time is coming up.
After the train straight to the black. And 3, 2, 1.
That was a good run.
That was actually very well executed. Minor, a few mistakes, but I can forgive about that.
I mean, as we talked about earlier, this is a very hard game.
We had no time to explain that Mecha Dragon eats fire for breakfast. His hitbox is like broken. We had no time to explain how Vessel Defense System can just teleport you around. How Tunnel Cleaner can be destroyed with a blaster. There's so many things. Yes. I was like, okay, you know what? I'll just continue on focusing. And you absolutely took a huge load off of... it allowed me so much to focus.
My pleasure. But yeah, there is a lot going on in this game. I barely was able to explain just, the basic things that were happening on screen right here. I was trying to channel my inner Argic in a way. I think I at least partly succeeded with that.
Yeah, you definitely succeeded with that.
It is an absolutely wonderful game to run. It will absolutely kick you in the behind the first couple of times you do so. But if you, stick to it, if you persevere, you can do stuff like this, and it looks absolutely wonderful.
I absolutely have to get something, which I mistakenly forgot. I had to focus so much in Chapter 8. I still have to get our green upgrades.
Oh, right. So we had a color incentive going on.
I'm still going to grab it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys donated for it, and yeah, I guess we kind of forgot all the action that was going on. Go ahead and go. Okay, 53:44. That is a very solid time there.
So let's actually just go back in time. Pretend we did not see this.
I mean, you can basically go back to Combinatron as well and maybe show off the boss fight.
I can show off Combinatron. That's the thing. How much time do we have?
Do we have like 2 minutes?
I need 2 minutes.
All right, let's quickly do that then.
Okay,
so this is actually a secret that the community found out about at one point. You have to do some very specific things here, which will open up, or rather, it will show you this button, opening up a very hidden part of the map, and you can go ahead and select the color of your character. So now we are green.
We turn green.
Yeah, we could have actually done that in the very first chapter of the run, but we kind of forgot about it.
Now this is for the other people to take.
the egg.
The egg.
Or one of the eggs, rather.
Yeah,
it's not the eggs that you guys could have potentially donated for. It's another egg. But yeah, let's quickly show off Combinatron, the boss fight that we completely skipped in the Mecha City Spaceport here, because Dyan actually got these 2 frame perfect inputs in. So this is the boss fight that we skipped. This is Combinatron. Once again, a very cycle-heavy boss fight, and if Dyan can just go ahead and execute this all perfectly, that was the boss.
That was the boss.
I'm not even trying to explain this anymore because you see how quickly they just melt under our continuous onslaught. And I guess with that, do you have anything else to say?
I wanted to say thank you so much for BSG for having me. Please keep donating for my Ashma. Thank you so much for commentating with me and everybody supporting me for being able to show this off. It was a blast. I had my nerves. I had my oops and oops, but it's all good.
You smash it, buddy. Big shoutouts also to the Cyber Shadow Speedrun community. You are an awesome bunch. You basically blasted this game wide open. There is a lot of dedication from all of you going into all of this. And also shout out to the developer of the game, because I can't stress this enough, but Mecha has been such a help in doing the speedrun of this game, because he actually makes sure that whenever we discover anything, he doesn't patch it out. So even though the game can be a little bit janky at some points, he makes sure that these glitches and bugs stay in the game so we can still benefit from them for our speedruns. So we don't actually have to go ahead and patch the game, which is just phenomenal support from the developer. All right, and I guess with that, that is all from us.
And we'll leave it up to the next run, Phasmophobia.
Exactly, we're gonna get Phasmo being played by Rickold, Cathel, and Rashla, all small maps, 80% trio. Before we head off, I know exactly how hard this game is. You made it look so good. All right, let's go.
Bye-bye.